So we will stray when we rely on our skill instead of God's guidance. And part of that is, the self-reliance thing.
Okay, and then we got some leadership pitfalls to avoid. And there's a few of them here. And the first one is control.
Yeah, because especially I think when we grow, when you're small and you're dealing with a small team,
Right.
it's a lot easier to kind of have your hands off because you know everything that's going on. But as the ministry grows and the number of people that you're leading grows, the less you actually know. And so the counterbalance to that is I don't know everything that I used to know.
Yeah.
And sometimes we feel like we need to correct that by bringing in measures of control, which end up just restricting people.
Yeah, they really do. And it's disguised as protection,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or leadership. And that's so true, because I can remember a day when our own leader said, you know, we've got to have control over this. We've got to take responsibility over the things that God has given us. And then things start to shift from people focused to how are we going to protect all of these amazing things that we've built. And so I think, to me, I keep that in mind all the time by reminding myself, you know, I mean, we're sitting in a great 5-story building here that we built. We've got another one downtown. 100 years from now, these are not going to be here.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? But what we do that's going to last is what we've invested in people.
That's right. Another attitude as we grow is be careful of becoming more independent. And sometimes, you know, like it's kind of masked as decisiveness or vision.
Right.
But especially the more we kind of feel confident in our ability to lead, the less we feel like we need the input of our fathers,
Right.
of our mentors, of our leaders. And not just that, but of the people that we're bringing up alongside of us. And one of the things that I really appreciate that you often talk about too is that you make your decisions based on what those that you're leading, your sons and daughters,
Right.
are saying. And as we grow, we don't ever grow out of that.
That's right.
You always need to
Yeah.
listen
Yeah.
to those that are not only over you, but those that are under you.
And that's a heart condition, because really it's a matter of I really, really, really do want the
Yeah.
best sense of direction. And if I'm leading, then this direction not only affects me, but it affects everybody I'm leading, right? So it's so important to have their input.
Yeah, that's right. And the fruit of that too is just self-reliance, right? You basically rely on your own skill. And here's the thing, you are probably more skilled than the people that you are leading.
Right.
But they actually know a lot more than you do because of the guys that are actually on the front lines,
That's
you know?
true.
And so even though I may have more experience as a leader, I don't know, like, for example, if I'm going to make a decision about the school and the classrooms, I may have way more years leading the school, but I have zero expertise compared to the teachers who are in there every day,
That's right,
dealing with
yeah.
the kids, dealing with the
Yeah.
families. So don't be so confident in our own skill that we shut out those that we're leading.
Yeah, that's right. So self-reliant. Okay, and then point 6 is to release. Don't build, right? The
Yeah.
kingdom, it's already built. God got a kingdom that he's releasing in the earth.
Yeah.
And we just play our role.
That's right. So our point is to release what God's already doing. We're not trying to create something out of our own hands. You know, I think that's part of the issue that happened between like King Saul and King David is Saul was
Right.
actually trying to build a kingdom for himself,
he was,
right?
yeah.
A legacy, and he was trying to preserve his throne. Whereas David understood that the nation actually belonged to God, that there was an inheritance and a call there
Right.
that came from God, and that's what he was serving. And so when we tend to serve our own kingdom building agenda, we end up having a
Yes.
closed hand, you know. But when we recognize that it's from God, even when people are stealing from us, even when they're robbing our lands, they're stealing our people, they're stealing our ideas, our hands are still open.
Right.
Because it's not my thing to
Right.
protect, it's actually God's.
That's
We
right.
walk in wisdom in our relationships, and, you know, we teach people the difference between right and wrong, and we have wisdom for when the enemy comes in to try to steal from us. But when it happens, I'm not going to get bent out of shape
That's
because
right.
it actually belongs to God.
It's happened a few times.
Just a few. It happens.
But
Yeah.
it's true. But trying to control that, like Saul, it made him smaller and smaller and smaller. His
Yeah.
influence decreased and decreased. Where David, his influence increased and increased
Yeah.
because he was a releaser.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so that ties into the next point, which is basically have the heart of a slave. And I love this because when you look at the apostles in the New Testament, you know, I, Paul, a slave of Jesus Christ.
Right.
And they lived in the day and age where they had slaves. They
Yeah.
knew what that meant.
Right, that's right.
And that basically meant you did not belong to yourself, not even a little bit, you
Yeah.
know. And so as long as we keep that attitude as leaders, especially as we're growing, you know, I am a slave to Jesus Christ. I am a bondservant of Christ. None of this is about me. It's all about him. It'll just help keep us in that proper
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, that's good. And then point 8 is to recognize personal tendencies.
You like to say self-aware. Be
Right,
self-aware.
that's what I
right?
like to say, yeah. As leadership confidence grows, we got to watch out for the things that can bring that are stumbling stones as well.
Yeah, such as valuing our own opinion above everybody else's,
Mm-hmm.
right? Making really abrupt decisions. Sometimes when we're trying to decide something and people are talking it
Yeah.
out as a leader, sometimes I want to shortchange that process because I
Yeah.
feel like this is a waste of time. But people actually need that
Yeah.
that training of how do I
Right. And the
communicate,
processing, right? Yeah.
where
yeah.
everybody comes into agreement because we've decided based on
Mm-hmm.
the purpose versus based on the fact that I've just put my foot down.
Right.
Sometimes there's things where you do just make a decision on, but
Yeah.
you shouldn't be making 100% of the decisions.
That's right.
100%
You've got to
of the time.
consider who's affected by the decision. And that's one of the things that really challenged me always about our tenet that says that through the agreement is the place of
Yes,
power.
that's right, yeah.
Right? And so the question is, just because I make a decision, it doesn't mean we come into agreement. So if we're looking for the place of power, we've got to lead everybody into agreement through the
Yeah,
process of making
that's
that
right.
decision.
And one of the things that I love to talk about with people, especially when I'm like talking with married people or people that are getting ready to get married, and we talk about when there's conflict and confrontation, and I always say, you know you've lost when one person feels like they've won and another person feels like they've lost.
Right.
You know you've won and you've come into agreement when everybody feels like they lost a
that's
little
good.
bit.
Yeah, right.
That's the part. You're not going to be 100% happy, and not everybody, but you've come into agreement, and so everybody has to make a bit of a personal sacrifice, right, of your
Yeah,
agenda or what you think is best or your own opinion, but it's for the good and the betterment of
Yeah,
the
right.
vision, the goal that's in front of you.
I was taught, as a young man involved in church leadership, is that when you go into a meeting, like a board meeting, for example, or whatever, and you have a meeting, then when you come out of the meeting, there's not, well, they decided this and I don't agree with it. It's a we decided.
Yeah, that's right.
But to get to that point, we actually have to decide.
Yes.
It has to be us. And so I've been in board meetings where it wasn't us who decided.
Yeah.
And yet I come out and I'm supposed to say we decided
Yeah.
and we didn't because I wasn't in agreement with it. So there's more to leadership than just making everybody
Yes.
toe the line, right?
Yeah,
We do
that's
have to
right.
come into alignment and agreement with each other in the vision. Yeah.
That's right. And when there is tension there, then what needs to happen is the things that are going to bring unity. Well, then let's pray about this. You know, let's hear everybody's opinion about this. Let's see why we can't come into agreement. What are
Right.
some of the issues?
Yeah.
It's nice to hurry the process, but it's not, because at the end of the day, God put us together in this team for the purpose of building something together.
Yeah,
So we
right.
just.
So don't leave your guys behind. Keep them caught
right.
up to you, right?
That's right. And so then the next point, when you're growing, your confidence, again, this is kind of tied to the first point, but is in obedience. And here's the key. When we know that we're obeying God, right? We're walking right in our relationships. We're walking right in the way that we're leading. Then we can have the confidence to face whatever it is that comes at us. When I'm making a decision based on my own best guess, and then I run into something, it's easy to go like, oh dear. Have I
That's true.
made,
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing when I got married. I really wanted to hear from God about it because I knew that down the road there'd be a period where Matthew and I would be struggling, and I would need to know
Yeah,
that I actually
that's
heard from
true.
the Lord about this,
That's
And it's
true.
like that with the things that we're leading to, whether it's the businesses or the ministry or the people. Our confidence comes from knowing that we heard the voice of God. And there's certain things that, I heard God speak to me, and he said to do this thing, and then I did it. And when it looked like everything else was like counter it and against it, you could not move me, not
Right.
even with a bulldozer, because I just knew that I knew that I knew that I heard from God. And that's what made me confident. And so that's where our confidence lies, right? When we understand that we're actually obeying the word of the Lord, you're not going to be
So
shifted.
true, so true. And then we come down to number 10. It's almost like the 10 tennis back.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. And this is where we shine.
Yes.
I believe, we're working on it, is that we have a kingdom family. We have a
That's
family
right.
that's centered around the call and the purpose of God for our lives. And so that means we have a culture, we have a vision that's in common.
Yeah.
And we even talk like each other,
It's true.
we act like each other. It's quite a thing, quite
Yeah.
interesting to watch.
And I think because we have that kingdom dynamic, that family culture too, it's not just us and no more.
Right.
Like, I love how, we've got great examples in so many leaders, but one of the people that come to mind is Chris and Tab in Maasai. they work with so many different ministries.
Right.
You know, they're definitely Victory and they're Victory family, but they have such influence over all kinds of ministries, you know, that aren't in the Victory fold because of that kingdom mentality, you know.
Yes.
And so because we know how to operate as family, other people look to us and they learn from us and they want that. So there's so many people that are joining themselves to us all across the nations just because they want that family dynamic and we model it.
That's
And
right.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we're unique, but we're not exclusive at all.
Man, that's right.
And for those of you that have listened all the way through to this part, we've got a special word of encouragement for you. And that is these points to help with our leadership, reminders maybe a little bit of direction for you to help you improve your leadership. And we've got to be growing as leaders, and the growth starts here, guys. It really, really does. It starts here. So my encouragement to you is we want you to take these things that Becky and I are teaching. There's a lot of work that goes into this, research and prayer and thinking about it and paying attention to you guys. We pay a lot of attention to the responses on YouTube and the responses on Facebook. Okay, so we know who's liking it and who's paying attention and who's not. And like I say, if you've watched all the way through to this far, good on you. We're proud of you. And we really need to build our culture more and more, I believe, to around this idea that we need to grow personally.
Yeah.
Because when you get busy, that's one of the first things that stops is your personal
Yeah.
growth, right?
Yeah.
It gets neglected. So we want you, we're working hard to equip you and to help you and to not make it difficult to grow personally.
Yeah.
And so in that too, you want to really grow personally, share these messages with people that need to hear them.
Yeah.
I know that there's 800 to 1,000 young leaders across Victory Asia that need to be listening to these messages. Some of them can't because it's different languages or whatever, but they need to come through you, right? So
Yes.
you read them
teach them.
yeah, study, learn them. You can study them right after here, or you know, teach them right out of here if you want. But the truth is, if you get the principles, family culture, the 10 tenets, all those kind of things, core values, buried in your heart, they will come out in everything you do
It's
and
true,
everything you
yeah.
say. So I know that your guys are getting what we give you because you're, what we say, regurgitating it, passing it on from heart to heart, which is really what matters, which is really what counts. It's not a matter of the letter, learning of the letter, but it's a matter of the heart catching the
Yeah.
culture. So we bless you this week. Be strong.
Amen.
Be excited in your personal growth, and share some stuff back with us. What have you heard? Some of you that are doing, you know, the little reels and the little messages and stuff. Good on you, man. I so love it when somebody puts a message in the chat, you know, from something God is showing you, man. I just so proud of you all.
Yeah.
Yeah, bless you.